I'd like it to be a conversation, really, rather than anything formal.
Yes, of course. Yes, Maria.
You're
We'll
wonderful.
have fun. We'll
We'll
have
have
fun.
We'll do our best. Okay, so let me start off with introducing Antonio Nieto-Rodriguez. He is the world's leading champion of project management and strategy implementation. He is the creator of concepts such as the hierarchy of purpose, featured by Harvard Business Review, and the project revolution, which argues that projects are the lingua franca of business and personal worlds, from the C-suite to managing your career and relationships. Antonio's research and global impact in modern management have been recognised by Thinkers 50 with the prestigious award Ideas into Practice. He is also part of MG 100, Marshall Goldsmith's 100 Coaches. And this is the introduction that you kindly sent me, Antonio, and I think it doesn't do you justice. I think it doesn't cover the breadth of all the things that you've done, and it's a very short synopsis. So it's nice to have this opportunity to talk to you and learn a little bit more about you.
Good morning, Maria. It's a pleasure to be here on your podcast. And I've been also following what you do for speakers and how you're influencing. So it's a pleasure to have this time with you and share a bit more about my experience. Like you say, that just a couple of lines. I've done more. I failed too. It's not like everything is bright in life, and from failure you learn. But yes, I have a many years in project management experience, and some were good, some are disastrous, but I learned a lot. I've been living abroad quite a lot of my life. I am Spanish from Madrid, but I've been living in Mexico, in the US, in Italy, in Germany, in Belgium, the Netherlands. So I'm kind of a globetrotter. I love global concepts. I love global communities. So I'm just a global citizen.
Fantastic. How did you come to move to so many countries? Because I read that you were educated in 5 countries. How did that come about?
Well, I had no choice. Were my parents, so I had to follow them. I was very little the first time. My father used to work for the Spanish Airlines, so we were traveling quite a lot. Like home was the airplane, and he moved to Mexico, and so it was more by just following my parents. Then it became something common to me to travel and to feel good in many places. So I've continued, although now home is basically Madrid and Brussels. In Belgium, I'm here with my family too. So that's how I came up to all these trips.
Fantastic. And you speak a lot of languages fluently, don't you, as a result of this travel?
Exactly. Yes, not because I'm smarter than anyone. I was again forced to speak German and Italian just because I was living there, and you get used to it. And so that's yes. I'm not a power of nature. It's just I was living there and I was forced to it.
And do you consider yourself Spanish at heart?
Very much, but Spanish international. So it's I care about the big items in the world, the big issues. That's ultimate my goal, to try to help the people who need most, and that happens in Europe, but that happens in South America, in Africa. So that's kind of one of my goals in life, to reach to those people.
What I loved, actually, looking at your website and reading more about you, I love that you have a purpose and you state that purpose. Most of us spend our lives trying to find our purpose, and you are totally clear on what your purpose is. Would you like to share that with our audience?
I would love to share that, and I believe in the power of purpose. I think we have been doing a lot of talk about vision and mission, but only when I came close to the idea of purpose, I realized, wow, purpose is a glue, is what everything can relate to it much easier. And you don't need fancy words, just state what you really feel and want to achieve in life, as a company, as an individual. And I found mine very clear, and I don't mind sharing it. So yeah, here it goes. My purpose is to help corporations, organizations, governance, in excel in their transformation projects and achieve more profound impact on our society. So that's basically, I want to share my knowledge, and I want that people achieve their goals and we make impact in society.
That's fantastic. That's wonderful. And we want to help you do that because it's a wonderful purpose.
Thank you, Maria.
And how did you come to that? What brought you to project management and what gave you an interest in leadership and helping leaders?
Well, maybe it's a long story, Maria. I worked 10 years in PwC, and there, while we were all doing projects, I somehow became one of the experts in project management to help companies. So if you're struggling with your big transformation project, IT, ERP implementation, a big merger, I was the expert. I did some research, so I became really one of the experts in PwC. And I tried to become partner in PwC. You know, that's the highest level you can reach in those organizations. And my business case to become partner was to develop project management for PwC. I call it Project Management Advisory Services. So I did my presentation. I was convinced, very well prepared. The day after, they told me, Antonio, we love your presentation, but you're fired. So that
What was that about?
Well, I think the reason they gave me is that project management is something very low level. It's like you cannot make value out of it. It's something that everybody can do. And so PwC will not go into those low level kind of professions. And it's not for us. So that both was a big shock after 10 years. Second was very disappointed that senior leaders and partners, very bright people, just diminished the value of projects. So that gave me like extra energy to try to find out why these people didn't value projects, although we all do projects all the time. So that was one of the key moments in my life, a big failure because I didn't make it to partner. I was on the street for a few months, but then it was like a big swing to continue my research and really focus on it.
Have you gone back and said, haha, look at me now?
Well, yes.
Fantastic. Brilliant. And actually, I picked up something on your site that was a bit controversial, and I'm going to read it out because I think you need to explain this too. You say that, let me see if I can find this, you say that actually the things that are not going to be the big disruptors coming up, it's not about technology, it's not about AI, it's not about big data. These aren't the things that we really need to be worrying about. There's something bigger, and that big thing is, in fact, you were saying managing, project management and management.
Exactly.
So how do you think? How do we argue that then with clients who are coming to us and asking for speakers on AI, etc., etc.? Why should they be focusing on projects?
I think again, it's something that has been unnoticed, but its impact in every organization can be profit, non-profit, any industry. They're struggling with projects. The day-to-day activities they manage very well. It's 100 years they've been working on that. So we master that. We have process, we have tools, we have incentives, we have KPIs, but the side where you need to deal with the change, and that's all the projects. And it can be just one, like a digital transformation project. I'm sure if people are listening, they will know that this is painful and it's not easy. But then you go into a bit deeper and you have hundreds of projects. So one of the issues is that companies tend to launch projects very easily. It's very, very easy to launch a project. You say, oh, I have this great idea. Let's meet on Monday and we kick off. And then nobody continues. It's very hard to finish projects. It's very hard to stop them. So the amount of projects just doubles every year. So I believe that because this has not been in the radar, it yet is affecting everyone. It's really affecting businesses, organizations, governments. So that's my claim. I think we know about the digital AI and robotics and big data. We know it's there and there's a lot of research, but this one is kind of hitting everyone and we've not seen it yet.
That's fascinating. I think maybe we should get you in to see the British government and talk to them about some projects. We have a bit of a project going on at the moment, I'm sure you're aware.
I know.
So the other area I wanted to talk to you about was your book, The Focused Organisation. And this sings to me because I see myself as a leader of my little organisation, and it's a very small organisation compared to those that you consult with and work for and speak for. But I like the fact that you say that by focusing on a few key initiatives, you can have a dramatic change in your business. Is that what you think? Do you think we are focusing on too much at once? Is that what we're doing wrong as leaders and as managers?
Absolutely, Maria. And the more I talk to leaders, the more successful ones are the ones who are able to say, we're going to do the three things next year. And this is what the team wants to focus, should focus, and we should deliver. We'll start, but we'll finish. But that's very hard because you're saying no to, I don't know how many other options. And they say that in innovation, every company might have 3,000 ideas per year, but you're saying to what, 2,997 ideas, no? And you say 3 to yes. So it requires courage. It requires discipline to get it done, get the right people on board, and just follow through till the end. And I'm convinced. I think if there's something you need to learn as a leader, is to be able to prioritize and focus. That cascades the whole organization. It creates the right culture. They see true leaders because they have courage. They're on top of 3 initiatives, not 25. So I believe this is one of the key success factors of many businesses and leaders.
Okay, I'm going to take that on board because I am one of those people that has a list that is way too long. It's way too long.
Way too long.
Yeah, and I want to come back now to the Thinkers 50 that we talked about at the beginning when I mentioned it in the introduction, which has been called the Davos of the world thinkers. And the part which I find fascinating is that you underplay that you are one of the top thinkers in the world. I mean, you're in the 50, but I would say you're in the top 5. And that's a huge honour, and it's a wonderful thing to have. So tell us about the award that you've won recently, and also tell us what you did in order to get there to receive that award, because that's an interesting story and tells us a little bit about you as well.
Okay, yeah, sure, Maria. Of course, it's great to have this recognition, and I'm talking for myself, but I've been chairman of the Project Management Institute. I know the project management very well. I know how committed these professions, people who are very, very dedicated to their jobs and making projects succeed. And according to some numbers, there's about 50 million project managers out there who are often diminished. You see, based on what I just told you about PwC, project management is not as fancy as marketing or strategy. So it's changing, but I think there's a lot of people behind me. I was just lucky to be there, a bit more advanced than many, but yeah, huge recognition and very happy. The way I got there is, well, I follow a bit these kind of big events or Harvard Business Review. I study and see Harvard, do you publish on projects? And I realized they don't publish on projects. Very little compared to finance and marketing and sales. There's a gap of 1 to 100. So I target Harvard. Business schools, they don't teach project management. So I target them to say, basically, all the people I teach project management, they end up studying, working in projects after their MBA. So it's a career path, very clear nowadays. And Thinkers 50, I came across the rankings and say, wow, in 15 years, nobody from project management expertise has been there. So I reached out to Stuart and Des, and they said, what, project management, leave him alone. This is nothing for us. This is, don't talk about that. It's just find another ranking. And so I consistently proceed. I just told them, Stuart, give me a moment, give me some time. Let me explain you that projects are there to stay. There's the main way to deliver value in companies, but nobody has addressed that. How can you create and accelerate more value creation? It's through projects. So it took me like 2 years since I identified the list, first discussions with Stuart and Des, and then actually they started to think, wow, this is actually something different. We hear a lot about innovation, and we have a lot of thinkers about innovation, leadership, strategy, but you're coming with something very different. So I think that was, at the end, what they appreciate. It's something different and actually very practical. Is we have all these ideas, but at one point we need to make them happen, and that's the recognition they gave me. It's not just me, but project management in general.
Fantastic. Now you've avoided the story because you actually, I know, cut your honeymoon short to come to the Thinkers 50 event in case you won the award. Now, how did you negotiate that?
Oh, that was a tough one, Maria. Yeah, it was something I told Stuart and Des that, yeah, I was getting married the week before the event in November, and I told him, listen, I will be in Argentina, in Patagonia, in the south, most south place in the world, and can you not tell me, I knew I was nominated, can you not tell me if I will make it or not, because I need to cut my honeymoon short? And she said, no, impossible, we don't tell you anything. So I had to negotiate with my wife. She was very nice, and the deal was if I didn't win the award, we could go back on honeymoon.
Fantastic. But you didn't continue your honeymoon even when you won the award. I mean, she's a very understanding wife, very understanding.
Yeah. No, yeah, we did a mini honeymoon afterwards, yes.
Fantastic. Anyway, congratulations.
Thank you, Maria.
And the other thing I wanted to ask you about, because you've been speaking for a while now, and you've spoken in many countries, you've taken on a lot of engagements. How did you go from your work to writing to speaking? What was that progression like? How did that happen?
Well, basically, it's funny, the way I started speaking when I was in PwC, I went into a couple of events. This is late 90s. And I thought, wow, what people these are with congresses, big congresses. And most of the people I didn't find interesting. They were not good at communicating. I didn't get anything. So I said, well, I can do that. I can do that. And I was very, very shy when I was a kid. So I kind of wanted to force myself to be learning these communication skills and be comfortable standing in front of 500 people, 5 people, 5,000 people. So it was both a way of developing myself, and second, I saw that the speakers were more important in congresses. Everybody would come to you. So I said, I want to be one of them. And one of the leading reasons was I could travel for free. At that time, you were not paid. Of course, I was not known. I had done some research around projects. But I got the trips for free. So I did travel a lot. And then I became good. I was good at communication and making things simple. And people would get touched by my stories and learn some things that they could apply at work. And then I realized it's a sort of a profession and you can make money out of it. So it's a long path. I've been 15 years at least speaking in public, but I really enjoy it. I love to share and engage people and make them think and act differently the day after. So yes, it's something that I really enjoy a lot.
Fantastic. And is there any piece of advice that we can finish on that you would give to somebody who's booking a speaker like yourself with so much knowledge and so much to give and so much expertise? What would you say to them to get the best out of your time at an event?
Well, I think, Maria, the challenges I always face is my topic is not the fancy one, which would be around disruption, innovation, digital, but the feedback I get is it's one of the most comprehensive, inspirational, down-to-earth, practical speeches they've ever got. And these are talking about conferences or companies who engage many speakers. So my style and my insights are practical, are good for everyone. It's an entertainment. It's an hour of a good time, lots of stories, but practical. This works in reality. I'm one of the few experts who still has a full-time job in a corporation. So I know what works. I know what frameworks don't work. Most of them don't work, but I know the ones which work. So if they want something that works, that's going to have value straight away for their people, plus inspiring them, they should certainly contact you to get me there.
That's brilliant. Wow, we should have prepared that. That was fantastic. Antonio, listen, thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure to get to know you a little bit better. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. What a pleasure. Take care and Merry Christmas.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.